Okay, we're going to get started with game 3. Let's see how that went. This is, of course, it's the World Open 2019. Game 3 was played yesterday, so on July 4th. It started at like 7 o'clock, not like 7 o'clock, it started at 7 o'clock last night. And the interesting thing, while we're getting started here, is that my opponent, game started at 6 o'clock. My opponent thought it started at 7 o'clock, so he didn't show up till 6:45. So 45 minutes was already off of his clock. I like for my opponent to show up on time, because if you show up late, I've gotten all relaxed. I'm ready to go back and crawl in the bed in my room. But I had to play, and 45 minutes was off his clock, which doesn't mean anything to me because I'm going to end up in time trouble anyway. And sure enough, that's kind of what happened. So let's look at it. Okay, let's flip the board. I was actually playing black. I'm hoping I can transpose things into a Nimzo Indian, but his bishop is going to be outside the pawn chain. So I think I need to get rid of that bishop. Already on what, the third move, I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of his dark square bishop, because very often the bishop and the knight coordinate together to attack f7. I'm sorry, is that c7? c7 successfully. I don't want that to happen. So one idea is just to play d6, which I think is totally playable. The bishop no longer has an attack, but you're giving up space in the center. I don't like doing that either. So you play d3, play d5. Now my bishop is blocked in behind the pawn chain, but I was planning to somehow fianchetto that bishop. This is my first opportunity. I said, well, I can exchange off the bishops right here, catch her with my pawn, or with the queen. I was thinking the pawn, so that I can break through the center. Now the computer really doesn't like this move. I wasn't too proud of it myself, but I thought, well, it's 1600 player, he'll just take it off and I'll be fine. I thought he was going to take it off with the pawn, and the idea then was that he's blocking his bishop coming across the board. I'll eventually push up to c5, have control of these 4 squares. His bishop will be blocked in, that'll be fine. It's not what happened. He took it with the bishop and not the pawn. I threatened the bishop. Bishop went back. Now at this point, I still can't attack him with my knight, so I played on. That actually, let's go back and move. This was a very good move, so that when I do get opportunity to attack him with the knight, he can go back to h2 and still keep control of this diagonal. I'd already given up the bishop pair. Castled, got my king to safety, c4. Okay, this is when, at this point, I just started being very dumbfounded. He's pushing up this pawn so that he can develop his bishop, in essence, with a tempo, because I'm not developing anything, I'm just taking this pawn. What I should have done here, no, that's what he should have done. What I should have done is e4, I'm sorry, rook to e8, so that I can break through the center at e4. I have adequate control, and that would get rid of his bishop. It's not what I did. I took off the pawn. I helped his bishop to develop. The reason why I did that, I knew that I could attack the bishop and hopefully get rid of his bishop pair. He moves the bishop out of the way. I thought that would be okay, because now I can attack his other bishop. Moves that bishop back. I thought it was going to go all the way back to c2, but since he didn't, I attack that bishop again. Moves back to h2. Now I'm feeling pretty comfortable. My knights really look good poised in the center of the board like that, but the e4 knight is unprotected. I probably am not going to be able to leave him there long unless I try to support him with f4. I didn't think that was good because then it weakens my pawn here. I mean, it's backwards. But looking back on it, I probably should have done it because even though that's a backward weak pawn, the center would be pretty congested, which is better for knights as opposed to the bishops. And this bishop is sitting here protecting that pawn anyway. He might as well do something. He doesn't have very much mobility, so give him a job. Instead of, let's see what the computer suggested. Oh, I like what the computer suggested. And I did look at it, but I rejected it. Sometimes I overthink my moves and just keep thinking until I reject a good move. First, you're giving the queen something to do. You're attacking a target in your opponent's position, and you're taking the initiative. Now, the reason why I didn't do this, I wasn't sure about how I was going to respond to bishop to f3. I probably should have just went f5. He's not going to take it off voluntarily. If he does, to weaken my pawn structure, that's kind of okay because he's also losing his bishop pair. He's giving me space. He's opening up a file for my rooks to double on. Since those pawns are double isolated, I might as well push that one up. Well, maybe not push that one up, but do something. So I got to take advantage of open files and advanced pawns. The question is always, is your pawn advanced or is it just weak? But this would have been a much better alternative. And this is the sequence of moves that the computer thought would be most likely. Okay, white would still have advantage because of his bishop pair, but black would stand up. This is probably the best alternative for black. I didn't play that. I played c5, which is even worse. All my moves here are just helping him develop and take the initiative. Okay, what he castled, which is a development move. I took the pawn off, which is not a development move, because I cannot immediately bring my rook over to c8. He takes off with his queen, which gives him a better position for his queens. Queen allows him to double his rooks with the queen, and he's putting pressure on the knight. The computer really didn't like my move. My move was the advanced knight, bring him back, because that's the one unprotected. I didn't like the move either, but I couldn't think of anything better. The suggestion is even here, advance that pawn, keep that knight sitting in the center. Thought play would go down as see what's happening here. Play would go down with him threatening my pawn, but I can defend that with either my rook, which would be nice because it will allow him to play over, or my queen, or I bring my other knight back. So yeah, I like that move a lot better. But it was came with his other knight, a developing move. I offered the exchange of queens while my bishop is still undeveloped, which would have been fine, but he did a correct move. And I think I misanalyzed this too. I did not think he could take that knight off. I thought he was taking a pawn off. It was not a pawn, it's a knight. So I had to take back my knight. He doubles up. I'm trying to get my bishop active. So he's giving up, exchanging off his dark squared bishop. And at this point, I'm not totally lost yet, but it doesn't look good. Now I take off his bishop. I'm helping his rooks to double, but I do have an opportunity right here, I think. Instead of going c6, I should have taken that open file with my rook. If he tries to pressure my knight would just drop back and protect my bishop. And he can't leave this rook here. If I take a rook there, he has to do something about this. My pieces would have gotten to be more active. It's not what I did. I mean, I moved my bishop, but she has no scope at all at that point. E4 protects the pawn. Now this is interesting. He has a bishop pair. I have a white bishop. I'm thinking I need to shift my pawns to dark squares and cut this bishop off. That's what I should be attempting to do. And that doesn't help me accomplish anything. One thing to remember is very often rooks are good on open files, but they can't penetrate. You don't have much to worry about. This rook is not going to be able to come down to this square. Come down to this square, he's really not doing anything. What I need it to do is bring my rook to e8 and start attempting to push this pawn up and block off that bishop. He still can't come down to here. Might come down to here, but by that time I'll be ready to exchange off rooks. It's not what he did. He doubles up. I prepare to double up, and these are really bad moves too. As you see, he's moving this king towards the center. I double up my rooks against his doubled rooks. He moves his king even closer to the center. And in the endgame, you want your king in the center board. So right here, I should just left the pressure on and started walking my own king towards the center board. I was apprehensive because I said once I step to f8, he's going to check me. I step over, he brings his bishop back. I can't cut the bishop off anymore. And I'm just giving him another free tempo. Well, I've already gave him a bunch of free tempos. One more wouldn't have made a difference. If I keep the pressure on, it should be more difficult for him to cross over with his king. And that's why I want to keep his king in the box till my king can become activated. It's not what he did. Oh, I wanted to stop the bishop from coming in, which just made things worse. Right now I need to step here. Bishop comes in and checks. I got that covered, but I didn't want that pawn to push after the bishop came over. I don't want a pawn here and a bishop here. That would have been really bad. Now he's threatening my bishop on that side. If I step over, I lose a bishop. I got to defend that. So I decided I would exchange off the rooks, which made things even worse. Now his king's in perfect position. My king is out of play. There's no pieces on the board. He has a bishop pair. And I'm close to being totally lost. And now I am totally lost. He's walking his king over. All he needs to do is pick up one of those pawns. And once he can get this king to c2, he'll be able to pick up that pawn. Now I just try to shift my pawns over to white squares, even though I know it's hopeless. Right here, I did not understand that last move. Here he plays king to c7 and he wins. That's not what he did. And I thought, oh, maybe I can draw this. Even though I knew that was very unlikely too, because I'm going to have to at some point give up my bishop for his pawn, his a pawn. I don't know why he fooled around me all these moves. There you go. He could have did that 10 moves ago, the result would have been the same. I kind of wonder. If I should have just went to d7 right now, he pushes up. I got check with my bishop. Check. If I could just somehow keep that bishop checking and stop the pawn from coming in, I don't think I can. Just to show how to force a king out of position so that you can win the game. I take his queen off, he takes my bishop off. If I can hold this king away from my pawns, I can draw it. So I need to maintain the tempo, and I can't because he has the extra bishop. So I have to give him opposition. He takes opposition. I try to hold him out. I know it's not going to work. He just keeps forcing me back. Right here is totally lost. He has extra pawn and piece. So that was round 3. Unfortunately, I lost that one, but I gave it the old college try. Moving on to round 4. Take care. Bye-bye. Uh-oh. Hit the wrong button. Let's see here. Stop recording.